Lovely to see so many dedicated, committed teachers here on a Saturday. On a Saturday, when you could be having a day off, but you're here to develop yourselves professionally. I am really impressed. Okay, I hope that the conference is going to be useful for you, and I hope that this workshop that you've come to is going to be useful as well. My name is Julietta Schoenman, as you can see here, and the title of my workshop is called Say What You Mean and Mean What You Say. So, I hope it's not too confusing a title for you. It's really getting us to focus on some of the key aspects of what goes on in our classrooms. And it builds very much on what Wendy Arnold was saying in her plenary about the things we need to do as teachers. I'm going to focus in this session on a couple of key points. Hello, welcome. Hello, come in. Can everybody see the screen? Yeah? So we'll think about what problems students have with speaking and listening skills. I think generally in our classrooms, reading and writing is covered quite comprehensively, and teachers feel very comfortable with reading and writing skills. Speaking and listening, it's a little bit more difficult. Speaking, because it's spontaneous, if you're doing some kind of freer or fluency activity. When students speak, they make mistakes. Teachers don't like mistakes. Teachers like to control what students say and how they say it. And so we often associate speaking skills with quite problematic areas. Listening is challenging because students find it difficult. Many students are quite nervous about listening to natural speech or listening to a CD where they can't see the speaker, just hear this kind of constant sound. They panic, they lose confidence themselves, and it's very much our job to support students in that process. What do teachers think about all of this? We'll have a little think about that ourselves. And I'm going to have time to demonstrate some activities to you and get you thinking about how you might be able to use these with your students, or you may need to adapt these activities in some way. Both of the activities, if I manage to do two, are related to speaking and listening skills. So that's our plan. Okay. A little warming up activity for you. You're going to be doing this in small groups. What do your students find difficult about speaking and listening to English? I'd like you to brainstorm a list of points in small groups. Small groups can be groups of 3 or groups of 4. It would be absolutely fine. Can I give you about 2 minutes to make a list of points? So one person in your group, please, make the notes. Other people contribute your ideas. Okay, we have a little pair. Are you okay, just 2 of you? Okay, that's fine. Yes, I like that. Time's up. Thank you very much to the groups who've been brainstorming their lists. I've had a little look around at what you're doing. Some really useful points emerging around this area of difficulties for students. So can I ask the brainstorming groups, how many points have you got on your list? Can you count?
4, 5, 4 each.
Put them all together, the total. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No. Okay, 5. Who's the group with 5? Okay, can I start with you, please? Would you like to tell us your 5 points?
The first one is there is no outside activities for speaking or listening for the students.
Okay.
The second one is the lack of the background of the students.
Background meaning?
Words, vocabulary.
Ah, okay, right. So sort of language pool or language resource, if you like. Okay, thank you. Go on.
Lack of the non-educational activities. Limited exercise and also the time itself.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Now, we've got some really good points there. I think out-of-class activities is a big question for teachers because time in the classroom is very limited and we want to encourage our students to try and develop their skills outside the classroom. But it's difficult, yeah. Students have busy lives outside school. We can think a little bit about how we might be able to encourage that later on, but it's a good point to raise. You've talked about vocabulary, and yes, students need to, develop and expand their vocabulary knowledge as much as possible in order to express their ideas and to be able to listen to a range of different text types in class and outside. Thank you. So some really nice points there. Can I ask any of the other groups, can you add any other points? So don't repeat what we've heard. Anything else you would like to add to the list? Yes?
Some students are very shy
yes.
to participate. They have knowledge, but they are very timid.
Absolutely.
They think that all the children are going to make fun of them
yes.
if they make mistakes.
Yes.
So this is one of the hindrances.
Thank you very much. So students' own personality or character may inhibit free participation. Nice point, thank you. I've been lucky enough to teach monolingual classes and multilingual. So monolingual is your situation where all the students share the same mother tongue. But I've also taught classes where I have, students from China, students from Russia, students from Italy. And the situation is different because there is a real need to use English to communicate. With monolingual classes like yours and the majority of my classes, you have to work a little bit harder to encourage students to communicate together because they feel silly. They both speak Arabic. Why are they using this foreign language to communicate? You have to work that much harder to create motivating activities and, as you say, this kind of authentic context where students feel the need to listen and to speak in English. So thank you, that's an interesting point, definitely. How do we create the atmosphere where students actually want to communicate in English? It's not a natural thing for them to do. Natural thing is to speak in Arabic. It's much easier, yeah? So the teachers have to do something harder, if you like, which is to provide that motivation. Any other points? Yes?
As for listening, the difference between the accent of the teacher, him or herself, and the native speaker on the recording material is a big difference.
Yes, absolutely. And I think this is something that we need to think about. How do we overcome this difficulty? Personally, I think students need to be exposed to as many different accents as possible. Now, on your English for Palestine audio materials, do you have the same accent or are there different accents? It's mostly British. That's interesting. And within the British accent, are there different styles or male voice, female voice, boys, girls? Yeah, okay. So it tries to provide that variety. But you're absolutely right. Your students probably understand you fine, but they need lots and lots of exposure to other accents. Otherwise, it makes it difficult for them. As Wendy said in her plenary, practice really is everything. The more that students can practice, obviously the better they'll be. Language is a skill. Yeah, it's not a subject to be studied, it's a skill to be practiced. And it's just like driving a car, using a computer, cooking. These are all skills which get better the more that you use them. So that's a really interesting point again. We have to give our students opportunities for practice in the classroom as much as possible. Thank you. I'm really impressed with all this good ideas and good stuff that's coming out here. Thank you very much for your ideas. Don't use too much energy right now, okay? You've got 2 days of the conference. I don't want you to get too tired. Okay, but keep the ideas coming. I like what you're saying. So when we think about what difficulties our students have, yes, a lot of it is to do with their confidence levels, their language abilities, their interest in actually using English for communication, the atmosphere that the teacher creates in the classroom, the materials the teacher provides, the topics. All of those things are part of what we do in our classrooms, and we try as much as we can to appeal to all our learners. Now, a question for you. What's the average number of students in your classes?
40.
42, 35, 30, 35. 20.
It depends.
Don't tell anybody you've got 22. They'll be very jealous of you. Okay, so we have classes ranging from 20 right up to 40, more than 40, 42. You see, all of these classes are, in my opinion, they're large classes, and you've got to manage that number of students, and it's not easy. I mean, I can assure you, I understand exactly what sort of difficulties you're facing. So we need to think a little bit about how we do this. So we'll think now about, first of all, how our course book actually manages this particular issue. This is from grade 6, unit 7. Does anybody recognise that? Yeah, if you're a grade 6 teacher. What you've got here is a very controlled activity. And as we know, young learners benefit a lot from controlled language practice. Now, you've got activities in the book, which are controlled. You may also use supplementary activities, games, for example, which are also controlled practice activities. And there's definitely a place for these in the classroom. When you say, you know, our students are shy, they're nervous, they don't have the vocabulary, these kind of activities are essential for giving students that support. Now, what you can do, once students have practiced the dialogue, you can then start to encourage them to expand on this dialogue. So this could actually then become a little role play, where students can substitute vocabulary from here with vocabulary that they know. And in this way, you can very gradually allow them more freedom. I think this is helpful for students, especially at grade 5, grade 6, where their language knowledge and their language pool is actually quite limited. And it's in this way that you can actually get students, maybe through using flashcards or word cues, to develop their speaking and, more importantly, the confidence that goes with that. Speaking a foreign language it's not an easy thing. And you see, all of you now, you've been using English for so long, you've probably forgotten what it's like to be a learner again. Yeah, we forget as teachers, don't we? We forget what it's like to look at a page of language and we have no idea what any of it means. Okay? And it's sometimes good for us to remember what our learners go through. For us, we're very familiar with English now. Have any of you learnt a new foreign language recently?
In the past. Not recently, in the past.
In the past. How long ago?
10 years.
Which language was it?
French and stuff.
Really? Can you remember that feeling of,
Horrible.
yeah, that's right, I don't understand. I feel, you know, excited, but also a bit nervous. And it's good for teachers to remember that. Okay, so thinking a little bit, again, you know, English for Palestine has quite an emphasis on pair work, and students are encouraged to work with a partner. This, again, is a very controlled activity. Ask and answer questions about making invitations, offering help, and asking for permission, again from grade 6. So students are given a certain amount of freedom here, but not much. And again, I think this is helpful. If you yourself are comfortable using pair work with your students, then this kind of activity is absolutely fine. If, on the other hand, you think, prepare work, you know, how do I listen to everybody in my class of 42 students? How do I make sure everybody is on task and they're doing what they're supposed to do? Then this kind of activity is, because it's a controlled activity, it does ensure that students are at least doing what they're supposed to do. Okay. What I'd like to do is to do a few activities with you, which give you the chance to experience a listening and speaking activity and do it from the point of view of students, but then also analyse it from the point of view of teachers. Okay, now this is what we might call a drama activity, and to do this I am going to be calling on some volunteers to help me. Now, this is always very risky in a workshop because it's always like, oh, will anybody help me out with the story? Now, just to reassure you, you don't have to say anything if you are a volunteer. Yes, you'll be at the front, but you don't have to actually say anything. All you have to do is hold something. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to know. The story of Big Blue Fish and Little Red Fish is one of my favourite, so I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. A couple of visuals here. Okay, there's Big Blue Fish and there's Little Red Fish. All right, now, the way we're going to do it is this. I'm going to tell the story first of all, and I'm going to do that with the help of all of you. So I want you to imagine that you're my students, okay, and I'm your teacher. After we finish the story, everybody will get a grid. Have you used grids before? Yeah, you probably have. I don't know whether you've used them in a workshop situation. I find them quite helpful because it gives you the chance to analyse the activity. So what happened each stage of the activity and what was the purpose of the stages as well. I think it's good for us as professionals to think about what we actually did in the demonstration. Okay, so you'll be getting this afterwards. Hello, welcome. Take a seat. So, shall we tell our story? Okay, can I have 5 willing students to come and help me with the story? Thank you very much. Okay, we have 1, 2, we have 3 gentlemen. I'm going to say stop there, and I'm going to invite 2 ladies to come out to the front as well. Who would like to? Lovely, okay. Welcome. All right. Would you like to be Big Blue Fish? Would you like to be Little Red Fish? Now, please, everybody, this is an essential part of the story, but I'm just a little bit worried that people will be rather... Have you never picked up a boot from the bottom of the river? No, it's a boot. Do you want me to be the boot? Oh, I'm feeling... Would you be all right being... Thank you. Thank you very much. Would you like to be... Okay, now everybody, before we tell my story, okay, we just need to practice a little bit of vocabulary, because you're my students, aren't you? Yeah, you're my students. Okay, class, hello, how are you?
Fine, thanks.
You don't sound very fine. You sound rather tired.
Hungry.
Tired and hungry, and it's a long time till lunch, isn't it? Okay, everybody, do you remember yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember we were talking about the things that we find in the sea?
Yes.
Good, all right then. And do you remember in the sea we can find some fish?
Fish.
Okay, what colour's that fish?
Blue.
Good, all right. We've got big blue fish, and what about my friend here?
Red.
Little red fish, thank you. Now, do you remember what we can find in the sea? We can find...
Chef.
What a good class, well done. You remembered the word. And what's this?
Plants.
Ah, there's a special word for plants in the sea. Does anybody remember? Weed, good. Seaweed. Everybody listen. Seaweed.
Seaweed.
Practice. Seaweed. Good. All right then. And what's this? It's a boot. Has anybody ever been fishing and they think they've got a fish? Okay? And when they take it out, it's not a fish. Yes, it's a boot. Anybody found that? Never. River? Go fishing in the river as well. Okay. Now, everybody, I'm going to tell the story of Big Blue Fish and Little Red Fish, and I'd like you to listen. You're going to help me tell the story. There are some useful words and phrases. You're going to listen and then you're going to repeat, and I'll help you with that, okay? So, I'm going to ask my friends here, would you like to stand together? Okay, let me just... okay. One day, Big Blue Fish was swimming in the sea. And Big Blue Fish said, "I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm very, very hungry." Little Red Fish was also swimming in the sea. And Little Red Fish heard Big Blue Fish, and Little Red Fish was frightened. So Little Red Fish saw a shell, and Little Red Fish swam behind the shell. Okay. Big Blue Fish said, "I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Where are you, Little Red Fish?" And Little Red Fish said, "Please, don't eat me. I'm very small." Big Blue Fish swam away. The next day, Big Blue Fish was swimming in the sea. Big Blue Fish said, "I'm hungry. I'm very hungry. I'm very, very hungry. Very, very hungry. Where are you, Little Red Fish?" Where are you, Little Red Fish? Where are you, Little Red Fish? And Little Red Fish said, "Help! Help! Where can I hide?" Okay, and Little Red Fish saw some seaweed. So Little Red Fish swam and hid behind the seaweed. Big Blue Fish looked around. "Where are you, Little Red Fish?" Couldn't see Little Red Fish. Big Blue Fish swam away. The next day, Big Blue Fish was swimming in the sea. Big Blue Fish said, "I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Very, very hungry. Where are you, Little Red Fish? Where are you, Little Red Fish?" And Little Red Fish said, "Good. Help! Help! Where can I hide?" Help! Help! Where can I hide? High voice, please, gentlemen, high voice. Help! Help! Where can I hide? Help! Help! Where can I hide? And Little Red Fish saw a boot. So Little Red Fish swam inside the boot. Big Blue Fish said, "Where are you, Little Red Fish?" Big Blue Fish came. Big Blue Fish looked inside the boot. And Little Red Fish was very, very frightened. And Little Red Fish said, "Big Blue Fish, I'm very small. Please don't eat me." And Big Blue Fish said, "Eat you? Why do I want to eat you? I want to invite you on a picnic." So Big Blue Fish and Little Red Fish went on a picnic, and they were friends forever. Thank you so much. Thank you. In life, misunderstandings occur quite a lot. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Can I thank my 5 volunteers for their help? And can I thank all of you for your excellent choral drilling so that you helped me to tell the story as well. Now, that's the end of the demonstration. We're going to do our analysis now, okay? I hope I've got enough copies for everybody. I think I have. If not, you'll need to share, yeah? Basically, you have stages of the activity. So can you remember, you know, there were 3 or 4 stages to that little lesson, if you like. What happened? Second column, what did the teacher do? What did the students do? And do you have any comments about each of those stages? So if you can kind of divide it, okay, maybe first stage. Can anybody remember, how did I begin our activity?
The vocabulary. I needed vocabulary.
Good. All right then. So yes, I greeted you, said hello. Oh, you're tired. Oh dear, lunchtime. Blah blah blah. So a little bit of, you know, just greetings, and then yes, revised vocabulary. Good. All right then. After that, good. Invited volunteers. Good. All right. So then, telling the story. Volunteers were acting. Students, you were responding, repeating. Okay, fine. And then at the end, that was it really, end of the story. So those were the main stages. What did the teacher do? What did you do, the students, at each stage? Can I give you 5 minutes or so? Just notes, please. Do not write long paragraphs. Notes, keywords are fine. Would you like to
Thank you.
Everybody, I am so sorry. I've just been told we have to finish, which is a great shame. But I hope that that's been useful. I've been having a look at your grids, and what I find encouraging is the fact that you're very good at identifying exactly what happened during that activity demonstration. We haven't got, or many of you haven't got to the comments column yet, but what I have seen, one example of students were participating, and I think that is something that is really important to stress, that when you tell stories with your students, it's lovely for the students who are at the front, who are involved, but how do you get all the students to become involved? There's a danger that, you know, the 5 at the front will have an enjoyable time and the rest of the class won't be doing anything. So I hope that that activity showed you that you can involve all your students. Even if you have 30 or 40 students in a class, they can all be involved through repetition, through actions, which I didn't do with you. But students can also, if they're much younger, they can act out maybe red fish, blue fish, etc. Thank you so much for your help and participation. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.